Welcome to Horror Year, where every story is a journey into the unknown. If you're brave enough to face your darkest fears and uncover the most chilling tales, you've come to the right place. So, dim the lights, turn up the volume, and subscribe to Horror Year. Your journey into terror begins now. I've never believed in the paranormal until recently. I had assumed that all those ghost stories were only folktales meant to terrify. I dealt with the tangible and explainable in the actual world as a police officer. But everything changed in one night. I had to resign because of a horrific event that made me reevaluate everything I believed to be true. In order to demonstrate to you that sometimes reality may be more stranger and more horrifying than fiction, I want to share that experience with you today rather than scare you. I don't think superstitions exist. Until recently, I had no belief in ghosts or demons. Yes, unexplainable things do happen, but I simply want everyone to know that I was scared out of my work by more than just a few flying spoons or a door opening. As the department found no justification for maintaining the confidentiality of this police report, I will now go into as much detail as I can about what transpired on the scariest night of my life. We had just gotten a dispatch message to investigate a noise complaint in a tiny area, the identity of which I will withhold for privacy reasons. My partner and I were there. Paul, let's call him, and Mike, let's call him. We get here a little after midnight. It's dead on the street. By now, everyone is fast sleeping. We pull our patrol car up in front of the house indicated earlier and get out. We announce our presence by knocking on the door and saying, "Police. Is anybody at home?" A small girl, maybe 8 or 10 years old, unlocks the door and peers through the opening. "Hey." I lower myself to appear less menacing. "Are your guardian or parents at home?" She gives a head shake. My initial assumption was that she had most likely turned the TV up too loud and startled the neighbors. However, I heard the sound of shattering cutlery coming from what I assumed to be the kitchen before I could advise her to stay inside and lock the doors before leaving. The whole home was almost completely dark. I could see the girl was by herself when she answered the door and shook her head, which, in my opinion, makes whoever produced that noise an intruder. "Paul," I say to the girl as she steps outdoors, "would you mind giving her one of those lollipops you like to munch on when you're anxious instead?" The girl giggled, and Paul glared at me. They went to go wait by the car as I carefully pushed the door all the way open. "Police. Let yourself be known if you are in this house with anyone. I had no authority to enter the building without a warrant. It's too dark to see, but I did my best to identify the source of the noise. If there was even the slightest indication of a threat, I may legally search the house. Still, nothing." I opened the door and turned to go back to Paul and the girl. "Hey, again. We didn't, I believe, introduce ourselves. Officer Mike is who I am. Paul, my partner, is this. Could I inquire what your name is?" "Maribel." "What a sweet name. Okay, Maribel, once more if I may ask. What is the whereabouts of your family?" Just as I was finishing my sentence, the living room television came on with the volume all the way up. Paul and I whirled around fast, startled to see the television outside, playing static. Since civilians were not permitted in the front seats, we placed Maribel in the back seat of the patrol car for her protection. Then, defying better sense, we go into the house. We flicked all the switches in the house, but nothing lit up. I would see someone standing in the mirrors as I slowly made my way around the home. I assumed it was Paul, but each time I turned to look behind me, Paul was gone. Running footsteps rang down the corridor as Paul and I made our way back to the front entrance. We unslung our guns and pointed them toward the origin. The closer they came, the louder the footsteps, but nobody ever showed up in person. As the footsteps got closer to us, lamps, chairs, and other objects began to be pushed around by an unseen force. We ran from the house and took a seat in the front yard. The sound of the police siren went off, and the footsteps appeared to cease. Silencing the siren, I raced to the automobile. Paul seemed shaken when I turned to face him. "You okay, Paul?" "Yes," he says, taking a lollipop out of its packaging and putting it in his lips. I went to the back door to see how Maribel was doing. "Are you all right?" I turned to face Paul after she nodded. He remarked, "I'm not sure what to make of this." Yes, neither did I. Not at all. Really? For a moment, ignore the man who was running and unseen and knocked everything down. He gestures to Maribel and says, "All the family photos, pictures on the wall. She isn't present in any of them. So what are you contemplating?" The footsteps took us outside. The siren then sounds. That automobile has 1,000,000 buttons. What are the odds? Paul, are you attempting to convey to me that Maribel is paranormal? How do you interpret what we just witnessed? I'm positive there's a reason. When we take Maribel outside, the TV comes on. It makes us want to look into it. Something or someone appears in the mirrors but quickly disappears. I recall trying to silence him, not because his arguments were nonsensical, however, since he was. I'm sure you noticed it. It was looking about slyly. It then dashes outside and enters the vehicle. Test each and every button. I merely remained motionless. I'm at a loss for words. Up until Paul made the decision to begin his stroll back towards the house. What are you doing, Paul? We discover it by saying, "It only appears in mirrors." I trailed him inside and saw him smash the closest mirror and take a book off the counter. What is wrong with you? That belongs to someone. He reaches over and gives me a shard. You don't get to arrest a ghost every day. With our flashlights pointed at every corner of the house, we waited for something to break through the glass. I remember asking the Almighty God to keep nothing from happening, but it occurred. It swung its red, bony arm toward my back, and I became alarmed. My outfit was torn apart, sending me flying forward. The glass shattered into tiny pieces when I dropped it. It kept scratching at my body and clothes, but when Paul shot, it stopped. As Paul assisted me in getting up, I heard its shriek lessen. Then we both ran back out to discover Maribel gone from the back seat. It was challenging to describe what had happened to the department without coming out as crazy. Our hope was that the police cameras would support our accounts, but as soon as we stepped inside the house, they were turned off. Whatever it was had to have turned them off when we were not looking. Our police captain only gave our tale significant consideration in relation to the girl, Maribel. The captain asked us if this was the female we saw and pulled up a missing person report. Yes, it was. I gave up the badge a few days ago in an effort to preserve what little pride I still had. Just asking, to whomever it may reach and whoever reads this, the next time something in your house moves or a door opens by itself, examine the mirrors. I was completely disturbed that evening. Despite having lived my entire life in peril, nothing could have prepared me for what transpired in that house. I'm still not sure what the monster that assaulted us was, or what Maribel actually was. All I know is that it was real enough to make me want to quit my dream career. Therefore, the next time you hear something weird in your home, look around, especially in the mirrors, before assuming it's all in your head. You never know what could be observing you from the back. These should act as strong bookends for your tale, heightening the unsettling atmosphere and providing your readers with a distinct beginning and conclusion. And that brings us to the end of today's delightful story. I really hope it had you on the edge of your seat. If you liked this story, I'd really appreciate it if you could hit that like button. It means a lot to me. And if you're new around here, feel free to subscribe. There's always an exciting surprise waiting just around the corner, and you won't want to miss it. Do you have a spooky story to share or a fun idea for our next tale? Feel free to share in the comments below. I'm really curious to know what gives you the creeps the most. And as always, take care, keep exploring. And remember, sometimes the most chilling tales are the ones left untold. Catch you in the next one, if you're up for it.